Good afternoon, folks. Welcome inside the Pittsburgh Curling Club and to the A-Event Championship match here at the Pittsburgh 5-Under qualifying Bonspiel. Winner of this event will be given the opportunity to go play at USA Curling 5-Under Nationals. Today on Sheet B, we have a match between the Bowling Green Curling Club and the Potomac Curling Club. So let's jump you right over to Sheet B here and get in on the first rock of the action. Potomac won the coin toss and elected to take hammer, so Bowling Green making the decision to throw the red stones. And as is so often the case, a centerline guard, the call right out of the gate. My name's Trevor Matthew, with me today, as hopefully always.
As long as you'll have me, Trevor.
With our new YouTube stream, I have Dustin Devine. Dustin, how are you today?
Good, sir. I was able to catch your work this morning on the B event semifinal, and excellent job as well as I was on my way into the club.
Very good. Thank you. And we had a really great match this morning. B event semifinal on this sheet came down to a chance for a 4-point end to tie the game up. Shot missed by about a half an inch.
Oh my.
To seal the win for Pittsburgh. So over in the B event final, we have a Pittsburgh on Pittsburgh match going on. That'll be over on sheet A. We do have two streams going today, so our feature sheet here with the championship draw and another stream available with all three other finals of the B, C, and D events across the other sheets here at the club.
Yeah, just quickly here on sheet C, this is our D event final. So these were the A semifinalists that unfortunately lost their game, so now they're playing for the bronze medal essentially. We have a Bucks County club against Rochester. And on sheet D, our C event final, Mayfield versus Columbus.
Some really quality teams here at this 5-Under this weekend.
Especially here on our final sheet, these two teams have had solid games throughout the tournament. The team from Bowling Green tending to lean a little bit more in their previous games on a hit game, and the Potomac team, though, a well-rounded team with able to make just about any shot they needed, being a draw or a hit or a timely guard.
Always helpful, in 5-Under curling. You just never know what can happen. Teams have strengths. Teams, of course, have weaknesses, and it's just a matter of who's got it when you need it most.
But a solid start here for Bowling Green with the center line guard, one buried behind in the house and trying now to draw a second rock into the house underneath cover. And that one just a little bit heavy, settling in the back forefoot. And Potomac looking like they want to start removing that guard as soon as possible.
Yeah, wasting no time on the hit game here.
I would say sweeping it hard for line. Gonna cross the face of it and chip it to the right. Almost clipping the rock in the top of the house, but jamming on the stone they just threw, sitting in the back of the forefoot.
Yeah, just a touch unlucky there. Probably a double if it clips that top stone, but a little bit of more of a jam on that back one.
Absolutely. And even just if it over curled just another inch or two, able to completely peel it cleanly and open that middle up.
Angle's so important. The Schenectady team this morning in the B semifinal played great, had rocks all over the place just every time the angle 1 inch off from where they needed it to be useful, and just really difficult when that happens.
Especially when you're trying long runs, those angles are so important, and it's one of those things that only gets better the more you practice it, and some of these 500 teams haven't had as much of a chance to practice as you'll see the professionals on television. So always a little more exciting is, do they have that angle down just right, or is it just going to be just a hair off?
So 3 rocks in now for Bowling Green.
Potomac taking aim again, looking like it's still want to try and peel that guard, and if they sweep it past, then they can make a play on the 2 rocks in the back.
So tried to push that over there. It was, I think, just a touch wider than they wanted it, and are able to make contact with the middle of Bowling Green's 3 stones. If you're Bowling Green here, probably happy these stones keep lining up on an angle, moving away from the center and not towards the center.
Absolutely. And first stone here for for Mike Miller from Bowling Green. He's going to try and just kind of put right in line with that back stone again, trying to put as much granite between the shot rocks and Potomac as they can. Over curling a little sweepy on in, seeing if they can get it now tucked underneath. And they're going to get just sitting on the edge of the button. But definitely 2 rocks pretty frozen in there. And Potomac going to have no choice again but to go after those.
Double up potential here if they can, again, find that angle to sneak just around that yellow guard and that red stone that's in the 8-foot.
Stone's on its way. This one looks pretty good now. Now trying to hold it out a little bit, and it's going to clip the back red and punch it straight through.
Always hard on those upper weight shots. You're worried about it dying and curling. Do you sweep? Do you not sweep?
And especially hard here and early in the game when you're sitting here in the first end. No one has really a good feel yet for what the ice is doing, how curling it's going to be.
Yeah, fast ice all weekend here at the tournament, so only really takes 3 or 4 rocks down the same path and the ice up to speed very quickly. So Bowling Green taps their top stone, though, out into the open a little bit. And we'll see what Potomac elects to do with that.
Yes, what makes it interesting is the fact that they have 1 rock sitting there on the edge of the 4-foot themselves. So they don't want to just, recklessly go after that red stone, because if they jam it back onto theirs, it's, going to keep a Bowling Green stone in the house and lose that 1 Potomac stone.
Yeah, certainly you want to be careful here to make sure at all costs you're on the outside of that red.
Stone's on its way, sweeping it hard. He had to get by the guards, just sneaks by the guard, it's going to hit the one on the top of the house and push it back, doubling both of those stones out. A fantastic shot by Jackie Sharp.
Absolutely, a great shot, a great sweep there to...
Oh, sorry, Lena Hornline, I apologize.
To hold that rock out, just that 1 inch enough. Another hair curl and they hit their own. So great work there. Great team effort to get that shot accomplished. Now a little decision for Bowling Green here. Do you go after those stones?
I think that's what I would do. And looks, based on the broom, looks like he's going to try a kind of inside-out throw, either hitting one of those 2 yellow rocks and then rolling back towards the center line. Again, Potomac here without Hammer, or I'm sorry, Potomac with Hammer here, so Bowling Green really wants to cut down that scoring area.
Tricky little shot here. That yellow guard on the center line, higher than it looks. So, got to make sure you work your way around it. This one needs to curl.
We've been trying to carve it over now, but it's just going to catch an edge and open that middle wide up.
So that's certainly the risk of throwing the intern there, but clears the guard nonetheless. Yeah, and that sort of puts Potomac in a good position.
Yeah, Potomac now back in the driver's seat now. They can nose hit that red rock and sit 3 and put the pressure on Bowling Green now when so much at the end, Bowling Green was trying to put the pressure on Potomac.
Yeah, it's amazing how one shot can flip an end on its head. So first skip stone here for Potomac. Josh, their skip. A terrific nose hit there to sit 3. So Dusty, if you're Bowling Green here, are you cutting down damage, or are you trying to get that steal?
I think with nothing else in front, I'm going to try and cut down the damage. You can draw behind the yellow for shot, but then all they have to do is run their yellow back onto it, and they're still getting a multiple end here. So given Bowling Green has been much better at, or seem to have more of a preference in their earlier games at hitting, I think they're going to try and cut down as many stones as they can here.
Yeah, I agree. I think unless you can find a way to perfectly somehow freeze to that yellow that's on the forefoot, which is tough with where those other 2 yellows are. But that looks to be the plan here. This certainly draw weight.
The weight's there. The rock is starting to curl as we approach the center line here and the hog line.
If it's not too heavy, it's going to be nice. So probably, I would have to guess a little more contact there than they wanted with that stone, pushing it back and leaving yellow a chance at 4.
Yes, if they could have just sat just off of nose of that yellow stone and only moved it an inch or 2, then it would have been really hard here. But right now, Potomac has the chance to, throw a cannonball at pretty much this red rock and chip it out the left-hand side. They won't mind too much if they spill the shooter out between the 2 yellows as well on the right-hand side either, because they'll still be able to get 3 and take a nice lead here after the first end.
Yeah, absolutely. This almost a 0-risk shot here. The only bad thing that could happen is if somehow you crash on one of your top 2 stones there.
Rock's on its way, sweeping, trying to hold the line. Now trying to change the angle. Able to chip it out.
So they'll lose one of their own, but finds the path to 3.
I'm sure they'll be very happy with the result, especially how the first half of that end was going, where they were looking to try and at least find a way to get their 1.
Absolutely. Give you a quick look here at the lineups for each one of our teams.
First in here by Jackie Sharp. Looks to be a little heavy. It sails into the back of the 12-foot.
Yeah, looks like a little bit of a lineup change here from Potomac.
Well, when you sign up, this is what we think the lineup is, but as the games wear on, you know from playing games yourself that, sometimes, maybe you feel a little more comfortable throwing the lead rocks today than the second, or, those little extra changes can, especially matter because then you're more confident in what you're throwing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, curling is strategy heavy and strategy in everything you do, and one of those things you can always adjust is who's throwing what rocks.
Bowling Green's first rock sailed through, so now Potomac with their second one now trying to place a rock in front of their first one. It's going to be a little heavy. They're going to come into the house, but not able to cover it up, but now sitting 2.
So Bowling Green going to go right after it. Certainly a chance at a double here if they would so choose. And double made.
And those kinds of hit shots and doubles Bowling Green's been making all weekend, so they felt very confident throwing that shot now and kind of resetting the end.
Always impressive when you can see a 5-under team have that combination of weight and line down, their skip knowing exactly what room to put for each player.
And as a bonus, too, it sat there in the outside edge of the house, so Potomac now having to go after it themselves. And this one's just going to be a little bit wide and not get the curl back. So now Bowling Green has the opportunity to split the house.
And that is absolutely the call. Room right down the center, so looking for that full 5.5, 6 feet of curl and hope to end up all the way in the other outside 12.
Stones have been curling a lot this weekend on pretty much every sheet and every game that we've seen so far, with good pace too. So far competitors very happy with the ice here in Pittsburgh this weekend with the amount of curl and the speed.
This is going to be close.
And it's just nibbles to the left edge.
So snags a biter there by about an inch.
Look at that, Trevor. You and I could lay down between those two rocks and not touch. And so now the question for Potomac is, which shot do you want to go after? I think they're going after the shot that is closest on the right-hand side.
And unfortunate there, misses his first one, a rock outside, and misses his second one, a rock inside.
Sometimes, Trevor, that's why I don't mind playing with 3 people, because then you get 3 shots at it. So if you miss one to the left, one to the right, you're making that third rock.
Exactly. If only he had a chance to get right down the middle.
So now Bowling Green trying to draw back to that left side there, a little bit closer than that biter is, but this rock seems to be a little light as they're sweeping hard for line, trying to drag it in to the house as far as they can get it. It's going to come up short though and sit as a close corner guard there on the left-hand side.
So a third attempt here coming up from Potomac at this hit.
So now Lena Hornley getting her first shot at this red rock here on the edge of the 12-foot circle.
Sweeping this all the way.
And they'll get it.
So the hit made that time. And looks like Bowling Green gonna immediately try and return the favor. Hit, stick, and keep their split house.
Rock's on its way, but looks like it's floating out a little bit wide, though. And it's just going to pass on by. Sometimes those outside hits are really hard, too, because, you know, you're used to playing down the center with draws and stuff. Sometimes those outside lines run a little bit straighter just because they're not used as much as everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you get out there into the wings, you know, you never know quite what the ice is going to do out there. It's been used less, and you also lose the benefit of having the center line and those 4-foot lines all the way down the ice to look at and give yourself a reference. So you're hoping your eyes are dialed in 150 feet away on that broom.
So Potomac now trying to make a play for the biter on the left-hand side now. Trying to sweep it hard to push it out to the line. It's trying to curl back, and they get just a piece and chip it out. And they just miss it by about an inch.
Wow, yeah, just the slightest hair off there. So both teams now going after each other's stones in the wings.
Yes.
And we'll see who blinks first.
And it's just a little wide again. If you add up all the misses today, I think you would not get the width of a stone by how much these teams are just missing these outside hits.
Yeah, you're not kidding. There's, you know, a hair in between there, quite literally.
And looking like nobody really wanted to come to the middle because they're afraid that, you know, if they're a little heavy, they'll give somebody, you know, a chance to come down and freeze on it. They're playing out into the wings here, so trying to say, okay, if we blank, we blank. But
yes, especially if you're Bowling Green here, knowing that Potomac's already out counting you. So if you go to the middle and miss,
yep,
and aren't under cover at all, that's going to be dangerous. Another begging for a sweep here, but this one looks like it's going to make contact.
rolls in, sits in the middle of the 12-foot ring. And so now Potomac sitting 2.
So again, in a matter of a couple stones, Potomac trying to flip an end around here in their favor. Looks like some tight contests around the rest of the ice here today. Every other game a 1-0 start.
Yep. Bowling Green trying to make a hit on the Potomac stone that was just thrown and rolled in to now be the closest of the two. A little bit lighter weight here, trying to nose or just get it inside and roll underneath.
Does make contact, but can't quite get any roll. Just didn't want to come back that extra little inch they needed.
but now sitting 1, so if Potomac makes a miss here, has an opportunity to go after the other rock or draw in for their 2, depending on if Potomac can clear this rock out now.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're Potomac here and you can make this hit, you're probably pretty happy because you're forcing Bowling Green to draw for 1.
Yes, so with those rocks as far apart too, no way there's a double opportunity for anybody. Rock's on its way now, trying to sweep the curl, try to push it over. As it's hanging out a little bit to the side, it's gonna make contact barely and actually nudge Bowling Green into the 8-foot. So now Bowling Green trying to decide, do they want to draw for 2 or do they want to try and hit for 2?
Yeah, you know, that line out there has been really unpredictable. I think I like the draw call here. You can even draw against your own and have a little bit of backing as long as you don't kick your stone more than a foot there.
That's one kind, and there's 4 other kinds.
So, last rock of the end here, delivered by Bowling Green. Looking to draw into the 8-foot for 2 and tighten this game up. Rock's floating nicely. Sweepers aren't on it, just walking with it. Willing it to slow down. Drawing down towards their rock. And just going to give it a little bump. There we go. That's 2 for Bowling Green.
Really well executed draw there. Had your own backing, go right to it.
And honestly, the safer shot, some people might, if they especially like throwing hits, may want to throw that hit. But when you have an easy draw for 2, much safer shot to try and just, especially with no guards, pretty much almost the whole house to work with.
Absolutely. So, on to the third end here. Hammer back to Potomac.
And a nice center guard there thrown by Bowling Green. Time again, start off just like they did the first end. Center line guard and probably throw 1 rock underneath.
Yeah, as is so often the case, you're not going to see a lot of blank ends at club level curling. Lots of rocks in play, lots of rocks in the house. %90 of the time, most teams going to play that center guard or corner guard strategy.
Potomac here trying to either draw to the wings or set up a corner guard that's a little bit heavy as it drifts to the back of the 12-foot. Bowling Green going to pay it no mind right now and try and clog that center line up again.
So a successful draw there from Bowling Green right underneath their guard, really well placed. And Potomac going to try to work their way over to the wings.
Going down my mental.
So Potomac gets almost all the way back to their other stone, but leaves that second rock on the tee line there, and that's going to leave Bowling Green the opportunity to go right after both of them. And that just hangs out a little bit outside. You can hear the skip there saying, "My bad" on the sweep call. Just maybe thought it was going to curl a touch more. So Bowling Green's shooter rolls out. And now looks like Potomac going to start to peel.
Just going to catch the edge of the guard and spill it out the side. So a nice peel there by Potomac.
Yeah, really well executed shot there. So often you'll see folks going for the peel, and hard to find that angle where you catch enough of the rock to lose your shooter, but not so much that you jam. Very easy to flash there or hit right on the nose. Yeah, now looks like Bowling Green gonna try and stick it right back there.
Yep, trying to guard up their shot rock. Sitting there just on the top of the button. Trying to carve it over here, trying to get it over towards the center line. And it's just going to hang a little bit on the right-hand side of center. So, leaving most of that shot rock exposed. And Potomac now looking to trying to decide if we want to just come straight at it or do we want to try and do a little hit and roll.
A little bit of discussion on how much weight they exactly want to throw at this.
Ideally, they don't want to nose it, because if they nose it, they'll just give the same shot right back to Bowling Green. So they want to cross the face of this and either roll underneath the guard or hit the outside and roll away from center.
Yeah, the call was for board here. I think the skip was hoping they'd curl all the way across the face. This one a little wide out of the hand, but curls back almost a full 2.5 feet and ends up perfect.
Just like that. That's exactly what they wanted there. Just cross the face, slight little roll back over the center line. Now using that Bowling Green rock against them.
So it sounds like a freeze call here from Bowling Green.
Well, Bowling Green this end without hammer, either trying to steal or trying to force Potomac to just one. If they make a perfect nose freeze here, it can be very difficult for them to remove that rock, for Potomac to move that Bowling Green stone without causing damage to themselves. This rock, though, over curling a little bit, just got it by the guard, and just a little tap, and they'll sweep it out the back. So now sitting with about half that rock exposed on the left-hand side, but sitting shot.
Yeah, so well done there. Changes the freeze call to a hit call, and 6 shot half protected.
You know, that's a very important part, too, of the skip, having to be able to read those stones as they're on the way. You may have called it, but if you see it's going to be a little heavy, okay, what's plan B? Can I make them hold this out? Do I want it to roll? And communicating that back to your sweepers to try and move that rock into its best possible position.
Absolutely. So Potomac going to be looking for a double here.
Oh, and very nice.
And
Gets
they
it.
get one. Can they sweep the second one out?
Just biting that edge of that 12-foot still. Just a little more weight, and that would have been absolutely perfect. And that's unfortunately a decision you have to make too when you're skipping. When you see two stones, which one do you sweep? Which one has the weight to go on its own, and which one might need a little encouragement? And I'd like to say I'm 50-50 on those calls, but I'm sure I'm much worse.
Yeah, that's never the position you want to be in if you skip, and then you make the wrong choice and you leave a biter, and it comes back to bite you at the end.
And then your sweepers who swept that rock down are like, "What were you doing?" And you're like, "Sorry."
So, not a big ice call here. Really only gave the shooter about 3 feet to work with there, and I suppose as expected, that rock over curls and bumps Potomac up into the house. Out counting their own stone back there, and now Potomac going to look to set up the split.
Does replace a center guard, though, so they are able to, possibly on their next stone draw underneath and have some protection.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're Bowling Green, you've still got your chance to the center there, and because the guard was replaced, it's just that little bit higher now that makes the run back that much more difficult.
This time by the time they're going to chip that Bowling Green out on the 12-foot, not stick around, though, in the back, though, as it had just a little too much. So now, if you're Bowling Green, with your first skip stone here, you can take a run at that Potomac rock you just promoted in the house, and since it's just kind of out there, you could easily hit that and then roll back underneath your own guard.
Yeah, sort of in a perfect position there to get that 3 feet of roll or so. And regardless, even if you don't make the roll, you're really cutting down Potomac's potential to do major damage to you here.
Sweepers so far pretty happy with this rock. A little brush just to get it, make sure it got out there, and now it's going to curl back across the face, just hit off the nose, but not enough weight to roll underneath covers, so it's going to sit exposed there on the right-hand side.
If you're Bowling Green there, the nice thing about that rock for you is it does stay with half of it out of the house, so if Potomac doesn't roll and makes just a nose hit, they won't be scoring that rock.
Rock makes contact and does spill over. It's just, though, as you said, just outside the house. Was not able to hit on the wrong side there and rolled over to where the house curled away from them. If they would have been able to cross the face, that would have been a very nice shot because they would have been partially guarded, just biting the edge of the 12-foot, but rolling to the right there.
Yeah, absolutely. If that hits on the other side of the stone, they're loving it. That one, unfortunately, not going to stay 2 inches off the house.
So now Bowling Green with their last rock. Going to look to draw here underneath their guard in front of the tee line. Put the pressure on Potomac.
Yeah, if you're Bowling Green and you can get this anywhere in the paint, you're in a good spot to force Potomac to go for one instead of a blank here.
Oh, but it's over curling. They're not able to get past their guard, and they chip it, and it stays out of the house. So now Potomac with the a decision of do they want to try and draw in?
Yeah, I think, if you're Potomac, you're probably happy to blank here and keep the hammer going into the even ends.
But since you're up one, getting one's not terrible. You'll still have a 2-point lead, so.
Untimed games here in the final. So every other event this weekend, a 90-minute timer to finish 6 ends. But here in the final, they'll go 8 ends.
And if they're tied after 8, we'll play an entire extra end. This rock looks like it's got enough zip to carry it through, so Potomac aiming for the blank to retain that hammer heading back into the 4th end. While we've got a moment here, we'll just check on some scores from around the other sheets in case you're curious. Over on sheet C, our bronze medal game. Team Rochester right now leading Bucks County 2-1 after 2 ends. Our B event championship on sheet A, the Battle of Pittsburgh here. 2 Pittsburgh teams, and they're both tied 1-1 after 2. And our C event championship sees Columbus with a 2-1 lead over Mayfield after 2 ends. As always, thanks to everybody listening and watching this broadcast at home. If you're in the chat, let us know where you're watching from and who you're pulling for.
So Bowling Green right to the forefoot with their first stone. And starting a hit game early here in the 4th end.
Timmy coming right after, though, trying to curve it over. And it's going to hit on the outside and spill out.
Bowling Green looking to play right back to the middle here. And that one just 2 inches too far touches the rings. So another hit on the way here from Potomac. This one wide though, and the skip just telling his sweeper to save his energy. Both these teams, again, really well-versed in hits and runbacks, so you can go under your redstone here, but certainly going to feel at risk either way of Potomac being able to throw a double. This one light, sweeping hard to try to get a touch on their own stone here. And they will, so both stones on, but in a position to be a double. They'll make contact with both, and their skip is going to dig. And it looks like he is able to get it out of the rings by just a hair. Always difficult to tell, the camera not perfectly over the house, but does look like it is out. So Bowling Green going to go in here, back on the center line, to the top 8 foot.
So eerily similar to the second end where just trading shots. Trying to sweep this one to get more to nose, don't let it over curl. And they make contact in just a little bit of a roll. So they remain.
So Potomac will sit one, and see how Bowling Green elects to handle this.
Shout out to Nathaniel from Cleveland watching and cheering for Team Mills since they beat them on Friday. You always want to say you lost to the best, so
Absolutely. Once you're out, you're always hoping the team that beats you wins.
Also, finding out in the chat, the A final in the Charlotte 5&Under, which is also a national qualifier, tied up after 5 ends with 2 teams from Brownstones.
Yeah, this was a 5-under weekend, certainly, all across the country here. Multiple 5-under qualifying events going on this weekend. So Potomac here now looking to split.
Stone that looks a little bit heavy now, hoping maybe it curls over towards the Bowling Green stone in the back, and it will sit just in front of it.
Yeah, almost a perfect freeze there, so very useful stone likely if you're Potomac there.
Bowling Green now coming down for the shot rock, making a good contact and staying now sitting shot on that right hand side.
So Potomac going to look to hit again and have a split house.
Stone's floating out a little bit, trying to curl it. Trying to come right down to the nose. And makes contact and takes a little bit of a roll back to the left now. I think ideally they like to keep that house a little bit more spread apart. Because now Bowling Green able to try if they really want to, some kind of double there, but really it's going to jam on that red, so probably not going to elect that. Just make contact and roll in front of the Potomac stone, I would think.
Yeah, sometimes, when there's when they're not frozen, but there's just that couple inches of space, that actually almost makes it harder. When it's frozen, you can throw with all the conviction you want and just throw.
And your rock's not going anywhere.
You throw it as hard as you can, and a frozen rock, unless it's undercover, is actually more exposed than I think most people think. So they're digging for this one. It's going to miss the front rock. And now the question, can they do it, push it over and get the back one?
And it's going to go right through the uprights. So now, an ill-timed miss there by Bowling Green now, leaving the door open for Potomac to really set up a multiple point end here.
Yeah, in real danger here if you're Bowling Green of giving up a big end. All four events here within a point of each other. So close matches all around.
This rock coming in looks like it's going to make contact with their own stone, trying to re-split the house again. And they do.
Yeah, very well done there. Rolls over.
Rocks are fairly level too, so chances of a double are very, very nil. And so now, Trevor, if you were Bowling Green, what are you calling here?
It's not an enviable position to be in. You certainly could try and double out those two top stones. They are right next to each other, so you could throw a laser beam takeout and hopefully get both by bouncing off one into the other. You're not in a great position. If you freeze to the back one, you're giving up three most likely. Potentially you freeze to that one bite in the forefoot and you hold Potomac to one or two, but none of these shots particularly easy to land in just the right spot to make them work. So it looks like they're electing the cut down damage strategy.
Sweeping hard for line. Oh. Drives it back, jams it on the yellow, which jams on their back red. So sitting now second shot, but pretty exposed.
Yeah, they do at least, remove one Potomac stone, so you're not going to give up a 4-ender here, but...
And there's always a chance that Potomac could miss. So Potomac here going for, looks like the nose hit. But if this stone takes off out of their hand or starts to overcurl, be interesting to see if they can get enough contact.
If you get a little bit outside, though, you may lose your shooter and send the red back into your yellow in the back and only get one.
If you're really going outside, you might chip it closer and then possibly give up a steal and tie this game up. So not an easy shot, even though fairly straightforward.
Asking for a hard sweep immediately.
Yep, it's curling already. Does have enough weight though, makes contact and pushes it out the back, so able to get there too there, but much more anxious on that shot than they were hoping it needed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're Bowling Green there, probably a sigh of relief that you didn't give up for, and you have a chance to reset here with Hammer and get right back in it. So missed by Potomac there on their first stone.
And Bowling Green looking to elect to draw to the wings, try and start splitting the house early here. As this one will just drift into the top of the 12 foot.
Really tough on this fast ice sometimes to slow yourself down enough to keep those guards, but as you can see, both these teams so good at hits. Really vital that you're not touching the paint with those. And Potomac showing exactly why right here.
Able to spill all the way over inside and to remain in the house there at the edge of the 8-foot circle on the left-hand side. You know, that's sometimes trouble. It's sometimes difficult too. You throw hit. Now you have to throw a guard, trying to dial back the adrenaline and dial back the strength as you're used to, shooting lasers here. Now you got to hit a fadeaway 3.
Absolutely, on fast ice, that's changing from that 3-second slide to that 4-second slide can be quite the challenge. So Bowling Green going to try again with the guard, but they knew this one was already in the house, so they try to take it as deep as they can. And it looks like they'll take it to the tee line.
Sitting right between the ends of the magnets there.
I always enjoy when someone puts a rock right on the magnet's hand.
Oh, yeah.
They come up with some sort of bonus.
I had one game where there was a rock in the palm of the one hand. There was a rock in the other hand that's kind of up, and there was a rock on the front foot, like a soccer ball. So it was like, just take a picture. Just stop and take a picture, because we're not going to be able to replicate that again. This stone from Potomac comes in and just chips the edge of the Bowling Green stone and moves it just a couple inches out before it skirts out the back. So Bowling Green now still sitting shot, taking aim at the Potomac stone, trying to nose that and split that house and put the pressure right back on Potomac.
Absolutely, right back on the offensive here if you're Bowling Green. Trying to set up an end of your own.
It's always interesting when I'm looking around the sheets, the other ones. So many other sheets have guards and several guards up in front in this. And this game, nope, you can see exactly where the rocks are at all times. We don't even have to go to the overhead very much because you can look right down the sheet and say, yep, there's one over there, there's one over there.
So well done there from Bowling Green. Makes the hit, splits the house.
You can hear with all these close games, crowd getting a little rowdy here in the warm room. Some of that might be directed towards the football game that's on the TV behind us as well. So plenty of lively activity still here on a Sunday afternoon at the Pittsburgh Curling Club. Potomac able to hit that Bowling Green stone and roll out to the right. Now Bowling Green looking to just draw in front of that Potomac stone to still give themselves a chance at 2.
Yeah, I like this decision here. Really no sense in going after that stone that wide. Your other one out counts it anyway.
Yeah, the way you'd have to throw, and you have to perfectly nose it to even still be biting the 12-foot. So if you're already sitting 1, try and get a solid second shot in here. As they're sweeping it, trying to get it into the house here. And this one's going to drift just into, see, look at that, right in the top of the hand.
Well done.
Holding it
Well
like
done.
a pizza pie. So now Potomac taking aim at the shot rock, which is the one there on the left-hand side in the 8-foot. Stone's traveling fairly well, just going to hit a little inside and roll back towards the 4-foot. And sometimes I think, both teams now trying to play back more towards the middle. They're still playing a hit game, but now trying to really shrink that scoring area. So if you nudge it, and stay in.
Yeah, Potomac certainly would like every rock to creep a little bit more towards the middle. Bowling Green, for the time being, probably happy to nose this so that they aren't giving any opportunities for doubles here.
Mm-hmm.
A control up call there from the sweepers.
Trying to carve it over now as it's hanging a little straight.
And they'll make the hit, but lose their shooter, and that's the battle of a hit game. All it takes is one slight miss there, and now Potomac a chance to make a hit and sit 2.
Hit games are so precise because even as you saw there, if they get it over just another inch, that's the difference between your rock staying in the house and your rock spilling out of the house. Even though you eliminate the other stone, which was the first objective, you still want to try and leave your rock in an enviable position where it's still playable and the other team has to deal with it.
So another hit made there from Potomac, but they'll lose their shooter as well, and
that leaves one lonely yellow biter there on the right-hand side. And looking like Bowling Green now electing to try and draw down to that yellow biter.
yeah, I think a free is a good call here. As long as you get anywhere close to that yellow, if you force Potomac to try to hit it, then you'll potentially have a double on their 2 stones with your next one. So if you're thinking a shot or 2 ahead, the free is a great call here.
Very nice stone. Comes right down and looks like it gets just frozen to that yellow stone. So a perfect shot there.
Yeah, really well executed from Bowling Green.
Potomac looks like they're electing to just blast everything here. They don't mind if they lose the shooter because, Bowling Green only having 2 stones left, it's going to be even harder now if that stone's taken away to get more than 1 in this end.
Yeah, and certainly when you're a team that's happy to play a hit game, at some point you're actually okay if the hammer team decides to blank as well, because now you're getting 5, 6, 7 ends deep into the game, and every blank works in your favor.
Yep.
So this one looks like it's certainly going to make contact.
Just knows it, though. And will remain.
Spills them both, sits right there out in the 12-foot. And that'll force Bowling Green to try another freeze. I don't know if you're Bowling Green. Do you consider the blank here? 5 ends in?
5 ends in, down 3. It's kind of hard to consider the blank because every time, now you're really limiting yourself. You're going to have to get at least 2 then in the 6th, and then try and steal in the 7th to force that 8th end. So is it better to take your 1 point, narrow this down to a 2-end game, and then try and steal from there? Stone's on its way. It's trying to curl over. Sweepers were on it, but it's just going to be just a little heavy and a little tap and sit next now to that Potomac Stone. Will sit shot, though. And Potomac, with nothing really to lose at this point, going to take a stab at clearing it out again.
Yeah, and if you're Potomac here and you make this, you're essentially forcing Bowling Green to 1.
Especially if you can hit nose on it, because you'll be sitting practically side by side with your own stone. No way for them to remove both rocks and themselves and get the blank.
So they're trying to push this over and make sure they don't hit their own instead. But that'll work out. They do make contact with their own, but they leave theirs. They do leave Bowling Green the opportunity to blank now if they would choose.
Sweeping it really hard though, starting to curl. Looks like they're going to make contact and spill back to the middle.
Does it have the weight to blank?
It doesn't. Finishes up here in the back of the 12-foot, so a force of 1. But Bowling Green able to narrow the gap now, scoring the score 5-3 after 5 ends. Trevor, you mind if I take a trip around the rest of the rinks here?
By all means.
All right. In our bronze medal game, the D event championship, currently after 4, standard question from Bucks County is leading Team Rochester. On the B event championship on sheet A in the Battle of Pittsburgh, Plan B leading Team Eiler 3-2 after 4, and over on sheet D, the C event championship, we have Team Up from Mayfield tied. Oh, I'm sorry. Team Up from Mayfield, they just hung a score, is now down 1, 3-2 against Team Arxibus from Columbus Narskabin Curling Club.
It's a really great 5-under event here. Close games all around in all these finals. Some really quality teams from around the country made the trip to Pittsburgh for the weekend. So Bowling Green with a center guard and Potomac with a biter out in the wing to start this 6th end.
Bowling Green trying to draw around their guard into the center of the house.
Sweep it hard now to push it under and make sure they're touching. And a phenomenal sweep there.
Very nice. Practically buried underneath that center guard. Sitting in the top of the 8-foot.
Getting very close to this plunge.
So we'll watch the house here and see what Potomac's able to do here, trying to make contact with that Bowling Green stone. Sweeping hard to push all the way, but just not quite able. Again, just a hair of a miss.
I did not see any daylight between those rocks on the way through as we're sitting here, throwing towards us here on the glass end of the warm room. And
yeah, I'm sitting right behind the line that came in.
there was no
cannot
light
believe
between those
that
rocks.
made no contact.
Like a phantom rock.
So if you're Bowling Green now, you'd love another center guard, especially one that puts a little bit of angle, either just above or just below your existing one.
This looks really nice. Has the weight to get around the guard, but sit in front of the shot stone still.
Yeah, that's well done, and they're just slightly off center.
Nice staggered center line guards there by Bowling Green. Potomac can immediately start trying to clear those away. And they peel the top guard. So now if you're Bowling Green, put it back.
Absolutely. If you keep 3 rocks on the center line now, if you're Bowling Green, you're in good shape.
Also interesting to see, like, once you in this game here, this is the first one where we've really had good guards that they're able to use, and so now look how the strategy has changed from the earlier ends of this game. We were playing out in the wings, we were trading hits. Now,
Yeah, absolutely. The guard doesn't, that very first guard doesn't sail on them, and now they're able to set themselves up nicely. So same thing here. Staggered guards again.
this one a little bit on the edge, so I think he's thinking we can maybe double these both if he hits on the outside, which would be definitely beneficial for Potomac, because then you're dealing with one guard if the Bowling Green puts back instead of 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even with normal weight, if you can get to the nose, you make the double here. Trying to push this one over, touch wide. So pushes
Wow.
it enough to make a double on the back stone.
Spills what was that second guard, though, into the rings at the edge of the 8-foot.
And leaves one still right on the center line, so if you're Bowling Green, really if you so choose, you can just continue your strategy here.
It's just replacing whatever they took out. If they took out the one in the house, put it back. If they took out a guard, put it back. Especially without Hammer here. Stealing one and making this a 1-point game would be ideal.
Yeah, every end of this game, it seems like full of back and forth.
Yes. As it should be in a final. 2 skilled teams making skill quality shots against each other. That's what you want to see. Rock looks to be a little bit heavy, though, as it's starting to sail into the house. Will come to rest on the center line, but towards the back 8 foot.
Yeah, and the Potomac skip sweeps it all the way really off the center line, totally exposed, but it's so deep. I'm not sure you're concerned about it right now if you're Potomac.
So Potomac, do you come after it now, or do you throw one of your own? Try and get it top 4 behind that Bowling Green guard.
Yeah, certainly potential for a hit and roll here. Again, though, both these teams are really good at runbacks, too, so if you make the hit and roll and you're only sitting in the 12-foot or the 8-foot, you certainly got to be worried that Bowling Green will just come along and hit you out with their own stone.
Especially difficult, though, when you're playing a team that has all the clubs in their bag. They can make and adjust to whatever the situation presents them.
So this one looks awfully wide out of the hand. Certainly not going to roll inside. They're going to try to push it over just to not hit their own stone.
It hits their own stone, then makes contact with the Bowling Green stone, then comes all the way over and out. Oh, out the right side, but then rolled back just a little bit. It might be biting, just barely biting the edge. It's hard to tell here in the overheads.
Close.
Give a little bit of fisheye. And as I'm looking here through the glass, I'd put a biter bar on that. At the end, I think.
Yeah, unbelievably close there. The shadow of the rock's biting.
Bowling Green now just trying to come back in underneath their guard. Sweeping it hard, trying to get past the guard. And they get it. Now, where's it going to check up? Okay, check up right in Joey's hand. Yep. Comes to rest in the top of the 4 foot, just in front of the button.
Yeah, so an excellent sweep there. Get around that guard by just a half an inch or an inch to spare. It is slightly staggered from the guard, so, certainly if Potomac wanted, they could come at this from either direction.
But close enough to center, I think it brings that back red stone into play as well. If you cross the nose on it and drive it back at an angle, you might.
Potomac looking for the run back double.
Just off the edge and peels the guard, so. Now Bowling Green finds himself sitting 3 right now. And looks like emphatically wants to replace that center line guard. The unfortunate part is you can only guard one shot at a time. So they think the center line poses the most threat right now. So they're going to try and guard that shot up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially knowing you're getting later in the game, only 2 ends left, you're going to try as hard as you can to get this steal.
Mm-hmm. Stone's on the way. Sweeper's just cleaning for weight.
Already on the center line here, so we'll see how far this over curls.
Really takes a jump there across the hog line and comes to rest, not guarding any of that center line shot at all. So just a beautiful weight, just a little bit of an over curl there on the finish.
So wide open here for Potomac. A lot of options here. They could hit and roll under that red guard, sit shot. They can make a double here on the back stone.
You don't want to hit and nose it, though. If they sit there, then it's going to be just as open for Bowling Green, and then they'll have the opportunity to roll under.
And gonna catch this just a touch thin. So they'll make the hit, but shooter goes out.
So now, do you try and draw underneath your guard, or you sit this right at the top of the 12-foot on that center line, trying to cut down their easy way to get one?
Boy, that's, if it's me, I am sticking it right on that top 12.
Or you're trying to solve it right under that top 12.
Yeah, attempting. Because if you can sit on the top 12, or really even a 3 guard here is probably okay. You're forcing them to do a hit and roll on that outside stone just to have a chance.
Weight looks good on this.
Also sliding a lot over curling.
Do get it into the top 12 though, so Potomac having to throw against 3 here with their hammer. And
yeah, certainly, you know, they could go after this outside stone here. If you nose it or even hit and roll a little bit to the inside, you'll get one.
Or you can try and draw down. If you go just paper your own yellow guard there, you should have a pretty nice path there to the 8-foot, which will also cut them down in your one, or even if you get it far enough, can get your one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly more margin for error there on the draw, and you give your sweepers a chance to help you out, get you anywhere between the top 8 and the back 8. And it looks like that's going to be the decision. So if you can find the weight here, they cut them down or they get one.
Final stone of the 6th end underway.
This one looks really light out of the hands of sweepers. Immediately on it.
Trying to
They are
drag
going
this
to
rock.
have to dig this. And at this point now, it's going to be on the red even if they sweep it. So
Oof.
a steal of 3.
This game really tightened up the last 2 ends here.
Yeah, 2 excellent teams going at it.
Mm-hmm. So just to recap on this game here, a big end to start for Potomac, and then both teams really settling in nicely, able to chip in there, but a light rock here at the end of the 6th end by Potomac, really giving Bowling Green that steal of 3 and making this a 1-point game and the first lead of the game for Bowling Green.
No, I can't make it, June. Sorry. My wife's going out and I'm the designated driver. Sorry.
Yeah, really well done here by both teams. A great game. And Bowling Green, again, here starts this end with a guard.
Travel show off. He's a glutton for more curling.
So Potomac goes into the house here. And Bowling Green gonna go right after it. Sweeping hard all the way now. Calls the sweeper off at the hog line. And a great shot there.
Potomac now trying to draw the other side. Looks a little light. Not sure if they were trying to set the guard up there or if they were hoping to get that into the rings.
Yeah. Yeah, not exactly sure how deep they wanted that, but it really only ends up as a one guard. Very high, only, makes it a foot there across the hog line.
Now Bowling Green trying to draw back into the center there. Looks a little heavy though. This is going to travel to the back of the house. Now, wouldn't be surprised if Potomac maybe tries to peel that guard over. Open that middle up.
Yeah, it looks like the plan here. A little hit and roll, peel the guard, leave yourself a corner guard.
An update from other action around USA Curling in the Charlotte A final. They're now going to a 9th end after a tie game after 8.
Oh, really? I miss it. I like that game.
Just straight runs back that guard into the rock in the back of the house and is able to get both of them. So cutting Bowling Green down to 1. Bowling Green now trying to come in behind that guard.
Yeah, really well done to make the double there. But the shooter sticking around right on the center basically gives Bowling Green the opportunity to play right back to the middle. And a little deep there from Bowling Green. So Potomac going for a hit here. But this one wide out of the hand, and they're going to try and push it all the way back over just to make sure they get a piece. And they will. But Bowling Green now with a chance to put up another centerline guard or draw yet another one behind that yellow guard. Trying to let this one curl back as much as they possibly can. Again, a lot of weight to this one. Goes to the back of the house. So that leaves Bowling Green sitting 2 at the moment. But Potomac eyeing the double here. He's trying to see if he can make the double and roll behind his guard. Sure, you're happy to just make the double here either way, and regardless of where your shooter goes, you'll be in a good position. So we'll stay with the house camera here and follow this stone in, see what happens. Sweeper trying to push it over the whole way. And double made. So well done there to get the double. That was going to be really difficult to roll much. And so now Bowling Green going to go after that, calling a sweeper on immediately. Thinking this rock is light or inside, but sweeps it right around. Amazing sweep there. Hits and rolls. And half buried between a port here. So the skip here, taking a good long look at what his opportunity is to get to that shot stone for Bowling Green. Still having some discussions here with the Vice on what the line is they want to take, what the weight is they want to take. Looks like they're hoping the run back
Sorry about that little bump there getting in. I assure you it hurt my knee a lot more than the ears of our listeners.
So Potomac looking at a run back here after Bowling Green makes the hit and roll on their back stone. But this one quite wide out of the hand and unable to hit it with the right angle. Basically
skirts by.
Leaves it in the same spot. Bowling Green still sitting protected back there.
He was like 11 years old, right? So.
Now Bowling Green going to try and draw down underneath it again, giving even more trouble.
Yeah, it's a learned lesson there. I'm sorry he never did it again.
Yeah, if you're Bowling Green here, you'd love to draw one around just into the 12-foot, right behind that yellow. Ideally, just a touch closer to the center line and take away any sort of angle there on the run back.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
And so we'll see what their skip can do here with his first stone on the draw.
Rock looks light. Looks like they might be actually trying to guard against the Potomac run back. And it doesn't get over the hog line. Just comes up a little short, so.
Yeah, so you're going to give Potomac here a second chance at the same shot. Now, it will be a different shooter. Sometimes in curling, I think it gets lost the idea of not even necessarily what's the right shot for you, but what makes the other team have to try something different. Potomac skip eyeing up the angle for himself here. And it looks like he's going to elect to throw the other handle at it.
Yep. Given especially how much the rocks are curling still, even at on these upweight hits, sometimes approaching it from the opposite side to make sure you get the right contact that you want is just as important. Even if it feels a little unnatural, like everything in your brain is screaming, throw the intern at this instead. But if it over curls, now you peel it open, they're just going to guard back up. So try this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly more margin of error here with the out turn, as if you do get across the face, you have a wider space to work with to make that hit. So it's on the way. They're actually trying to push it.
Oh, and that time doesn't quite curl enough. Almost just off noses and rolls a little bit more in front of the red rock now.
Yeah, so that'll leave that Bowling Green stone fully covered.
So there's positive and negatives on that shot. Negative, obviously, you now completely covered that Bowling Green stone. Positive, you rolled away from center. So you're on path. If Bowling Green doesn't get a good guard here, you're on path to the button to take your one. It's just that much a little bit easier coming from the left-hand side.
Yeah, that's always the ultimate decision of scoring or hammer, is when you're going into the 8th end and you're down one.
Oh, yes.
Do you want the hammer down one?
Do you want to be down one with hammer? Do you want to be tied without?
That is the ultimate decision. So another draw here on the way from Bowling Green. Again, if you're Bowling Green, if this lands anywhere that blocks that yellow raise in front of it or behind it, you're happy. And they're going to try and push this one as far as they can.
Getting it around the yellow now. It's finishing, curling into the top 12 with about half that rock behind.
So that's in a beautiful position there, staggered just the right way.
Now, if you're Potomac, is there a way that you could possibly double that? Looks like they're electing just to play it safe and take their point and go into the 8th end tied.
Boy, this is...
Especially given that Bowling Green got that second rock into the house now, you definitely don't want to give up two.
Tough ask here, though, after throwing a lot of hits to... Now all of a sudden you have to find a draw to the 4-foot.
Yeah, you have 4-foot draw weight program, didn't you, right, Trevor? You just push a button and there he goes.
That's right. So we'll stay on the house cam here and watch where this stone ends up.
Sweepers are on it hard out of hand. They're dragging it. Trying to make sure they get the right amount of distance on it as it comes on into the house.
Watching it,
Past one. Will it stop in time?
It will stop in time.
Just stop at the back button there, so tie ball game here. Heading into the 8th end with Bowling Green having hammer coming home.
Yeah, so Bowling Green, really forced Potomac's hand there to get their one.
So first stone of the 8th end there as you look at the scoreboard for this game, and really a good back and forth game between two skilled teams here in the event final.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, both these teams, a lot of shots in their bag, really capable of changing strategies quickly, making adjustments.
If anything, you say maybe the momentum is on Bowling Green's side here with that steal of 3 in the 6th and then forcing Potomac to take that 1 in the 7th.
Yeah, you have to imagine they're feeling pretty good about themselves right now. You give up 3 in the first and then turn around and start to put together a really nice game. And so they'll go right out into the wing to start.
Yep. Tie game here just because the 8th end does not mean you change your strategy. Without hammer, clog that middle up. If you have hammer, we're playing into the wings to keep that middle as open as possible and spread that scoring zone as wide as we can get.
So Potomac trying to set up their draw here. Again, not a terrible result for them either if you leave a second center guard. And they'll let this one float on down. Doesn't look like it's quite biting, so does serve as the second center line guard right behind their first. And now Bowling Green looking to guard their shot out there in the wing that they just put up. This one heavy though, so going to be swept all the way out by Potomac skip. And again, Potomac very happy to leave that Bowling Green stone alone. They want to win this race to the middle.
Stone's starting to really curl here as it comes on in. Just going to tick off the yellow stone at the top of the house and spill into the top 8.
Does just tap their other stone into a biter. Again, crazy things can happen. You never know when that little biter might come back to make the difference for you if you're Potomac. But Bowling Green now going to go right after those guards and peels the top one, rolls their shooter out.
So Potomac now sitting first and third. Going to try and guard that middle up again.
Sweepers just walking with this one. And they'll stick that right on the center line. So well done there. And now Bowling Green likely to just continue to play this hit game and try to just do whatever they can at this point to make sure the middle's open for their last shot.
We're really examining this shot here, trying to see what is the best angle. And looks like they think they can make a play on the shot rock in the top of the 8-foot. Or may just try and peel the middle here. Looks like we've settled on peeling that guard.
So going after that outer guard here. And bang. Clears 2 rocks out of the way. The second Potomac stone will hang out there in the back 12. But again, at this point, if you're Bowling Green, you're just happy to keep the middle open for yourself. So a draw here. This one looks narrow. And this will just end up a guard. So 2 center guards there from Potomac. And if you're Bowling Green, you have 2 choices here, really. Go under them now or just continue to peel them. Really like the call to just keep things open here, especially knowing you've already got 1 stone out counting Potomac.
Absolutely. Just keep playing, trying to open that middle up here.
And well done there, doubles them out. Again, just a really clean game here being played by both these teams. And so Potomac looking to draw again. This one being swept immediately.
Trying to hold that line out there. You know it's going to start to curl here as the weight comes off.
Yep, definitely. Looks like they'll make it around the guard, and now the question is, can they push it into the house without pushing it exposed?
I think it's going to be just a little bit late.
Yes, they get it into the house, but
It might actually be shot now. I look.
yeah, I do believe it's shot at the moment. Again, if you're Bowling Green, though, probably not of much concern, as if you can keep the middle open, you'll have a chance to just hit it with your last stone.
Yep, so now trying to remove their own guard that they had placed. And easily peeling it off over the top.
And gets rid of Potomac's rock in the back there.
You love those little extra cleanup bonus shots where you just get a little lucky tick on one that you weren't necessarily planning on taking out, and it's like, well, that's better.
Yeah, certainly, you know, the end not looking like that rock would matter, but you just never know. So if you're Bowling Green, certainly happy that's out of there. And now if you're Potomac here, really the question is, what do you do to not leave something that can be doubled? You could draw under, but your rock being in the top 12 so close could easily be doubled by this Bowling Green team with their hit ability.
It looks like they're almost electing to maybe remove that Bowling Green rock just to try not to give Bowling Green more than one option there to get their point. Although not with that weight.
This is a draw. I think he's going for a really high guard is his plan, which I like, again, given the run-back ability of the Bowling Green team. The question will be, can they get it over?
Can they get it? They're trying. They're sweeping. It's checking up, and no, it's going to come up short.
Boy, that rock, an inch short of the hog line. And now Bowling Green really in the driver's seat. Can hit this out, sit 2.
Looks like Bowling Green's going to try and remove that yellow Potomac stone and sit 2 in the house, force Potomac to draw, and then they'll have options with their last rock for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. One of those situations here where if you're Bowling Green, any contact with this rock is good. you're happy no matter where you hit and where you roll.
Yelling hard to sweep hard.
Going for the nose. And right on it. So I don't think they really intentionally left that rock right on the center line. But again, these teams both excellent at hits. So the draw under from Potomac, not particularly safe. But your only option at this point, make the draw and hope.
So final stone for Potomac underway.
Has to be there. A little sweep, a little, now they stop, now they're back on. Pushing it under. And now pushing it as far as they can. And if you're Potomac, that's all you can ask for.
That's that's as good as you could hope for.
Put one on the button. Unfortunately, it does go a little deep, so the button's open there, and you could come right down to it with a draw if you wanted to for Potomac, or throw your run back.
Well, this is the unfortunate thing about this is it's such a nice rock. Your margin of error is less. Either it has to go away or you have to outcount it.
Yeah, you got to make sure, that you are dead on the nose with this stone. Now, again, they have another rock in the house, so if anything they can do to clear that yellow out of the 8-foot circle.
So final stone of the 8th end
It's
on
the
its way.
It is narrow.
Sweeping hard, shooting hard,
Oh,
trying for
boy.
line.
Oh, wrong handle.
And it's just going to curl past and through.
And that'll miss. So one for Potomac in the 8th.
And they are your winners of the A event here at the Pittsburgh 5&Under Open Bonspiel.
So a great game there by both teams. Back and forth, some really well executed shots. And ends with a 7-6 victory for Potomac. So they've earned their spot at the USA Curling 500 Nationals.
Yeah, it's a great game by both teams. Two teams that have been solid all weekend. You couldn't have asked for much better than that.
Absolutely, really well done by all teams all around today, this whole weekend. 32-team event, some great talent on the ice. Lots of really great new curlers, young curlers. Always exciting to see 5-Under events and all the people getting into the sport and starting to enjoy it.
Yep. Shows how quickly these 5&Under teams are catching up and getting down the basics and their strategy. Fantastic weekend.
Well, that'll do it for us here on our feature broadcast. 2 games still available, so the Sheet C and D events still going on if you want to jump over to the other broadcast and catch the finals of those events. Dusty, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Trevor.
Been a pleasure. Thanks to everyone out there who watched, joined us in the chat. Hope you enjoyed it. Another great game here at the Pittsburgh Curling Club, and congratulations to Team Potomac and their spot in the USA 500 Nationals. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we hope you have a great one.